Welcome to Business News and Other Shit. I'm your host, Amr Abdullah. We are here about to record episode 42 with my boys, Yahya, Swag Fund, Rashid. What's up, Yahya?
What's up, man? How's it going?
Good, bro. How you doing, man?
I'm good. How are you?
Episode 2, Ramadaning.
Yeah.
We doing it, baby.
We are doing it.
Amen.
Every day.
Yeah. How's your first 10 days?
In terms of fasting, not too difficult.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Have you lost a bunch of weight?
I don't know. I haven't weighed myself. Probably.
I'm down 4 pounds.
Nice.
Wow.
Yeah. Maybe 5. I didn't check this morning.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, you guys weigh yourselves?
I think it's just your hair, bro.
Just my hair. I weigh myself like probably once a week.
Oh, I feel like that's a older man thing to do.
It could also be like
Pretty old.
yeah,
because you're trying to I think so.
it's like trying to keep
You know
off
what it
that
is?
dad weight.
It's a fat person thing, not an old person thing.
No,
People who are afraid
dad
of
weight
becoming
is
overweight.
real. You
What
know
weight?
that, right? Dad weight.
Dad weight?
Yeah.
Oh, for real? Hell yeah, it is.
That's why people talk about dad bods. The only way you can get a
Do
dad
you know
bod
why
is
it's like that?
getting dad weight. What?
My daughter, right? God bless her. She's 2.5 years old. The
Right.
way she eats her food, she don't care what anyone thinks about the way she eats.
Mm-hmm.
She will eat her food in a way where all fingers go in the mouth, and she chews it like. I'm like, yo, you're making food look amazing.
And then you catch up to speed. She probably learned it from you, and y'all just over there.
Damn, I
eating.
think you're right.
And then next thing you know, you look at the scale and it's 2
Boom.
pounds.
I wish it was just 2.
Oh, really?
Yeah, man.
I don't gain weight, so I don't know. I don't have those problems.
Really?
No, I want to gain weight so bad.
Oh, for real?
Yes, I really want to gain. I want to gain. I'm like 145 right now. I'd love to be like 160 for no reason.
I don't.
For no reason.
I don't hear many people say that.
Well, I've been the same weight forever.
Damn.
I haven't
Yeah.
heard many people that are 145.
I
either.
know.
Yeah, it's me and Floyd Mayweather. It's the only person I know.
We need to get you in a box. That's the voice of Noshod Barrow. What's up, Noshod?
Oh, what's up? Yeah.
you doing, man?
I'm all right. Chilling.
Yo, do you have any shows or anything you might want to plug? Any
Man.
things you're promoting?
Actually, okay, so I am. If you ever in Cincinnati, I'm doing.
You have no idea. We got thousands of listeners in Cincinnati.
Well, I am going to be at the Cincinnati funniest person in Cincinnati comedy competition. So,
Oh, snap.
Yeah, somebody from Chicago.
The funniest
dude
person
from
in
Chicago.
Cincinnati. It don't really sound like a fair competition, given you're coming in from Chicago.
It ain't, but I'll be the March 20. No, what's the date? May 22nd.
May 22nd. That's coming up.
Yeah, probably at 8 p.m. sometime at Go Bananas Comedy Club. So check that out.
There you go.
Yeah.
All right, cool. Noshod Barrow going to be in Cincinnati. Hopefully,
making people laugh.
Yeah, hopefully,
in
you be the
Cincinnati.
funniest. So, what do you win if you're the funniest?
I don't remember. I think it's like you just become like a marquee at the club. I might be wrong though. I have no idea.
I got you. Yeah,
Yeah.
maybe you headline or something.
Yeah, I think
Cool.
it's just like that. Really, I'm spending more money than I'm making. Put it like that.
To get there.
It's
To
worth
get to
it if you're the
Cincinnati.
funniest person in Cincinnati.
Right. Yeah.
Yeah, right.
How many people can say that? Yo, not many.
I will hold it over all their heads. I'm gonna need a key to the city. Look, you guys, I'm the funniest person in Cincinnati. Things have to change around here.
Cincinnati's kind of considered the South, isn't it? Or no? It's right next to Kentucky, Louisville.
It's Midwest. if you
It
ask
is
me.
Midwest. All right.
Yeah, I was finna say that too, like Louisville. Yeah,
It's moving in that direction, but it's not quite there.
Yeah, it's like
Yeah, Louisville's getting close. Like Nashville's getting close.
Right.
Cincinnati,
Still up there.
still, yeah.
yeah.
That's the voice of Danny Rezko.
What up? What up?
What's up, Danny?
How we doing?
Danny is a dear friend of mine. Thank you for coming on the podcast, brother.
Happy to be here, man. This is
We about to learn some real shit about real estate from Danny.
Oh shit.
Oh man, Danny went to University of Chicago Booth, so you're a business school graduate from the U of C, right?
Correct.
All right, and then Danny also has launched technology companies, so tech entrepreneur in the past. Today, Danny's slinging real estate and doing some other business deals.
No
Okay.
doubt. Slanging.
Slanging. Making some fat cheddar.
Man.
Teach us,
Selling
baby.
people houses.
What'd you say?
I said selling people's All right. Selling people houses.
What you got in your mouth?
Nothing. I don't know why I couldn't finish that off. It felt wrong for some reason.
So he's fasting.
I'm fasting too, by the way.
Noshad's fasting.
Yeah.
I'm fasting. Danny's
I'm eating for all of
getting
us.
drunk and fornicating. Yeah. Thanks for coming on, Danny. So we're looking forward to learning all about you, man.
Yeah, this is going to be fun. Thanks for having me, Amr.
The other thing.
I have fun every time we get together.
That's
You
right,
know
brother.
that.
Amen. We
so
do. We're good friends.
This will be good.
The other thing about Danny that I'm looking forward to learning about. I mean, one of the reasons I really found myself attracted to Danny as like a friend.
Pause. All right.
Awkward silence. Is Danny's experience in life. Like we all struggle with life, and recently I lost my father a few months ago, 4 months ago, and then, in fact, this is the first Ramadan without my dad. So it's we're feeling it. My family and I are feeling it a little bit. Like, oh man, it's different, you know. And Danny, unfortunately, in some ways, not exactly the way I lost my dad, but in some ways, Danny, you lost your dad for several years.
Yep.
So we're going to talk about that. Danny's father went through an experience where Danny's father had to be in prison for some time, and then Danny basically had to access his dad, could only visit him in prison.
Man.
Yeah.
Can you imagine that, you know? So hearing Danny respond to that experience and how he responded, and then meeting the dude right after his dad got out, I'm like, who is this guy? You know what I mean? Like, this is some strength. This is some realness. So I was like, I need to get close to this dude. I can learn something here. Look forward to talking about that, brother.
Yeah,
absolutely.
Definitely.
But let's talk about some business. How about that, y'all?
Let's do it.
Let's do it.
Bid-ness.
We're going to first bring out my grandma. She's going to talk to y'all about Uber IPO.
Oh, back to Uber. Oh, I did read a little something about Uber, but I did not understand it, so I can't wait at all.
Hello, Noshod.
Hello, grandmother.
My name is Zarifa.
Oh, what's up, Za Ree Ree? What up?
Listen, you son of a bitch. You say my name correct or you leave.
It's a nickname, girl. Calm down.
Oh, I like it. Okay. What was my nickname again?
Za Ree Ree.
Za Ree Ree?
Mm-hmm. Like Rihanna, Riri.
Ah.
Yeah.
Yes, I'm like the 87-year-old Rihanna.
Mm-hmm.
What would that be like if I'm 87-year-old Rihanna? I cannot.
I'd still smash. I'll tell you that much.
Oh.
Absolutely.
Maybe
Take
you.
them dentures out and
Maybe
go
you.
to town.
Maybe you can come on tour with me. Yeah, Noshod.
Man, I'll bring the lube. Let's go.
What is lube?
Lubricant?
Lubricant.
Yeah. It's
Hey,
it's
listen,
like
I might be 87.
Vaseline.
I might be 87, but there's no need to bring.
All right.
She uses her Vicks.
Oh, nice and cool. That's how I like it. Yeah.
Menthol. My friends, Danny Rezko. You are a handsome man, Danny.
Thank you very much.
Very, very. Are you single?
I am.
Oh,
at the moment.
I have 14.
Grandma.
I have 14 granddaughter.
Do you?
We can bring you over.
Hey, you trying to run this train on this grandma?
Listen, what, Mr. Noshod? If you keep talking like this, you will be on tour with me the whole year. Danny, my friend, I have 14 granddaughter. Okay.
Okay.
They are beautiful. They're smart. They clean the house very good. Okay. They use Lysol and Mr. Clean, everything.
Do they know how to make the yebra?
Yebra.
Yes.
They make you yebra like you lick your finger after you eat it.
Very good.
Okay. And listen, my
Not
friend.
gonna be the last time he licks his fingers. I'm sorry, Riri. Go ahead.
Oh, good. Za Ree Ree.
No, sorry, Riri.
Yes. Okay, my friend. And we bring you over. We have good time. They will bring you some tea. Okay. We'll put some sugar in it. You drink. You pick.
Sounds like a plan.
My friend.
Old fashioned.
Old fashioned. What's cool now is like, have you heard this? What do they call retro vintage? Antique vintage?
No doubt.
This is the life. Not just with the furniture and clothes. I do it with my family.
Za Ree Ree, what do you
What's
call?
up, Noshod?
What do you call me and you having sex in a car?
I don't know. What?
Antique Roadshow.
Vroom vroom, Noshod.
Oh yes.
My friends, let's talk about Uber. You know Uber?
I do.
Heard of it.
You heard of Uber? Uber has changed the world. You know, everyone, they are no longer using taxis all my grandson and my sons, they have problem now because they no more drive taxi, they drive Uber. Those are the ones who have not been too successful, but we still love them, of course. But what the hell happened with Uber? Do you pay attention? Uber, they went public. They went IBO.
What is that?
The people who invest in Uber, like Saudi Arabia and other investor, you see, they were making they invest in Uber. They build this company, but they know make money from their investment until they are able to sell their investment on the stock market. That's what Uber did. They put their company on the stock market so anyone can buy Uber. And of course, the people who invest, they're able to sell their stock they bought 4, 5, 6 years ago for Uber. Do you understand?
Yes, Dobby, I understand.
Who's Dobby?
Oh, I mean, Za Ree Ree, my bad.
Who's Dobby? Are you cheating on me, you son of a bitch?
No. You remind me of somebody I knew. No.
Dobby. Who's Dobby? Okay, so Uber IPO. Now, they were saying 3, 4, 5 months ago, it will be a $120 billion company when they go public. Mind you, this company, they don't make any money. They lose hundreds of millions each year.
Man, hundreds of
If
millions.
not billions.
If not billions, yes. But they say it will be worth 120 billion because they are the Amazon of transportation.
And in terms of they'll take you to the Amazon if you don't put in the right address.
That's right.
Yes. What happened to your accent?
I don't know. My inner thug came out.
Oh, all
Yeah.
right.
Super valuable company.
Super
I
super
mean, super
valuable.
impressive.
Super impressive. They had CEO, the founder, Travis Kalanick. He's, a little bit douchebag, They have major BR nightmares. So he's gone, and they have now Irani guy. His name is Dara Khosrowshahi. Khosrowshahi.
Hosh.
Hosh Nashad.
Sounds like some shit you put on your fries. Pass me a little bit of that hosh, please.
Anything for you, Nashad, as long as
Thank you, Za Ree Ree.
you don't call me Dub.
It's Dobby.
Dabi. Now,
Shut your hosh, all right?
Lyft, the company Lyft.
Yes.
They went public 2 months ago, and
Public.
their stock after they went public went down over 25%. Now they're down over 30%.
Really?
What happened is Lyft thought they were going to be very valuable. Everyone going to love Lyft and buy Lyft. All the investor, but no, all the investor they shit on Lyft. So Uber got very scared and they said, okay, no, maybe we're not $120 billion company. Maybe we are 100 billion, 90 billion. And so they decided to go to bring down the marketing and say, okay, we 80, 90 billion. So they went.
Technically what they did is they just lied on their dick. You know what I mean? So like,
how does one lie on their dick?
So okay.
You mean like fall on the sword?
No, all right, let me explain. So say like, all right, you got like 8 inches on you, and then like the girl be like, oh no, I can't take that. You like, it's actually 6. You know what I mean? Like it's not as bad as you think it is. I'm like, okay, try it out. It's lying on your dick.
Very good analogy, Nashad. We all understand now.
All right.
So Uber, they finally went public last Friday, and right away the stock market tell Uber, screw you. You are not 80 billion or 90 billion. Stock went down right
That's what
away.
happens when you fuck the girl and she finds out for real that you were lying on your dick.
See? She say, go screw yourself. Get out of my bed.
So what's Lyft's market cap now and what's Uber's?
I want to say Lyft, when they went public, was 25 billion. Now they're probably closer to 15 or 16 billion. So they lost a lot of money. Their executives thought they were going to be rich. They were much less rich. Uber now is, so they went public, Uber, and I believe their stock now is close to $38, $39. So it's down 15%. It was down more, 20-25%. It rebounded a little bit. But instead of being 80 billion, they're now worth probably 65 billion. So Morgan Stanley, the book runner, the one who bring them public, they were saying 120, 130 billion back in October. 120 billion, okay? And now it's 65 billion, almost 50% lower than what the so did these Saudi Arabia and executives, Dara Khosrow Shahi, did they all get rich? I'm sorry, no, not really. They try to bull a fast one on the stock market, and the investors say,
Yeah. The early employees sure got rich, no
They-
doubt about it.
they probably, yes.
And the early investors. I'm sure.
Early round
The
investors.
later investors.
Yeah, I heard
Not so much.
Beyonce got a lot of money.
Is she
and-
investor in Uber?
Yeah,
I believe it.
yeah,
Smart Beyonce.
yeah.
The Uber is a much more diversified company than Lyft too.
Yes.
You know, like they've got the Uber Eats,
Yes.
which is a delivery service. They've got the Uber Freight,
Freight, yes.
which I think is super cool.
That's correct.
They got
Chicago-
Uber hoes. You know what I mean?
that's
Uber-
that was in their prospectus. That's in their 2021 plans.
Uber
They're launching that.
scooter. Uber scooters.
Yeah, yeah, and Lyft does the scooters too.
I'm sure they're gonna have like all sorts of other things that we can think of right now.
Yeah.
Oh, the self-driving car, self-driving Uber.
Sure.
That's coming. There's investing a lot of money in that. But so, how did Uber become a Middle Eastern dumpster fire? Because, you know, Dara, he is from Iran, so he's Middle Eastern. Why didn't the Uber executives and investors all become rich from this? Why did Uber shit on the bed? You got to understand how these companies work. These executives, these top number one executive, like this guy Dara Khosrow Shahi,
Hosh, yeah.
Hosh,
Put a little hosh on your meal.
they will get paid fat ass cheddar if they can pull off big ass IBO. That's what happens here. For example, this guy, it's a you know these over promise under deliver. That is what Morgan Stanley and Uber did. They have big promise 120 billion back in October, and now it's 60, 65 billion, 70 billion. They really made big mistake. They set big expectations. And now here we are. No one is rich. No one trusts these kind of IBOs. This guy Dara, the CEO, he specifically have contract. Okay, it says he will get $100 million to his pocket if he's able to get the IBO to be valued at 120 billion or more for 3 straight months. That's the contract he have with his company.
The stock price, the market cap, in total, 120 billion for
Correct.
3 straight months.
For
Wow.
the public market. That's his contract. So this man, he gon' get paid if he can get big ass IBO.
Yeah.
So should it be a big surprise? Morgan Stanley 4 or 5 months ago, I guess 6 months ago now. No, October. We're in May.
I don't
5 plus
trust
the 8th.
anything or anybody who has 2 first names like Morgan Stanley. Sorry.
You may
Type
want to
of
have Dara meet your granddaughters.
Well, I would if he was able to keep it 120 billion for 3 months, but that didn't happen. So he's not getting paid. He tried, but he didn't. So you are still the number one candidate.
All right. Tough competition though. Sheesh.
Everything is money in America. Everything is money. They make his contract like this so that they can try and make everyone rich at 120 billion valuation. Should be no surprise. Morgan Stanley, 8 months ago, they say 120 billion. So this is what happened with Uber and why they were trying to push the stock price up, the IBO price up, to get this man Dara.
Za Ree Ree, are you a
What's
Crip?
up? I'm a blood.
Oh, okay. I was just checking.
Are you Crip? I will pull out my 9 right now and shoot you in your toe.
Oh, let's go back, Za Ree Ree. I was just checking because I mean you've been mixing a lot of these bull words up. I don't know if I appreciate that on Crip.
What is a bull word?
You switch your C's for B's.
C is for bees?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, I will try to do this more.
No, you've been doing this.
I want to do more because I want to mess with you.
Za Ree Ree, I don't appreciate this.
My friend, Lyft is flopping. You know Pinterest? They went
Pinterest.
IBO. They flop now. Uber, big flop. What do you guys think is happening here?
They're like
Anybody?
LeBron.
Did LeBron flop?
LeBron always flops.
Oh, he have many rings. Did he really flop?
They call him the flopper.
Oh, really?
Like the Whopper.
Yeah.
Oh, really?
Well, my theory is that these companies are trying to get out while they can. It's a smart way to do. Just
That's
be like,
exactly that's what Uber is trying to do. Get out while they can. They saw that the stock market crash almost in December last year, down 20%, and then the last 4 months, 5 months, the stock market up 20%, and so they're like, here we go, let's go IPO, and the market say no, screw you.
Yeah. It's typically a fool's errand to buy at an IPO.
Exactly. That's the number one advice I have for everyone. Do not buy an IPO. These executives are trying to artificially boost their stock price so they can get their contract of $100 million. And of course,
force it.
Force it.
Don't force
No,
it.
you
Just
got to
let it
be
happen.
chill.
You got to move with the market.
You got to be chill.
Yeah.
You know, are you chill, Noshod? You look like you're chill.
I'm cool as a cucumber.
I like cucumber.
I bet. A
You
little
know-
nasty Za Ree Ree.
Ooh. Only with you, Noshod. You know, Morgan Stanley, you're right. These investment bankers, they also get paid big time when they make these big IPOs. So they were pushing very hard for 120 billion. So, you know, I think, you know, if I think about everything, you have Lyft, Pinterest, Uber, they're failing. You know, Saudi Arabia, they issue $12 billion in bond market about 1 month ago, Aramco. Those bonds also are doing really shitty now. I think what is happening is many of these countries and companies, they realize there's a bubble in the stock market and the bond market. There's so much money. Everyone is so happy. And they're all trying to get money from the stock market and the bond market before the music stops. And this is the one rule in investment banking we always taught. Keep dancing as bankers until the music stops. You got to keep, because that's the only way bankers get paid is if they make money, if they raise money for these companies and countries. Yes, Noshod, you want to say something?
I just wanted to see how long you were going to do the voice for.
This is my voice. What do you mean?
Okay, whatever you say, Za Ree Ree.
So stocks are ownership stakes in companies, and bonds are essentially IOUs for
Yes.
companies. So when you buy a bond, you're buying effectively an IOU. You're lending money to a company. So a lot of people don't know, but you can lend money to Apple, for example. You can lend money to the government of Saudi Arabia.
Yes.
You can lend money to Microsoft.
Just like investment in the stock market, you can invest in the lending market.
Oh, real quick.
Correct.
Did you guys hear about this story? I'm sorry, I'm taking this off. Did you guys hear about the story? This guy is suing Apple because for some reason, somebody who stole his identity was also stealing Apple software or whatever, right? Like, you know.
Oh, they were buying from the App Store?
Yeah, or they were like stealing laptops and stuff like that, but they had his identity somehow,
Yes.
but they only had his ID and like
His Apple ID?
no, his ID, like
Oh.
his actual ID, and like they just knew where he lived and stuff like that, so they had that in like his social security, but they never put a face to it because he didn't have a face on his ID. But Apple somehow knew exactly what he looked like, so when he came into the Apple store, they arrested him.
Wow.
Right, so he was like,
Who did they arrest? The guy who got his ID stolen?
Yes, his
Why
identity.
they arrest him?
Because his identity was stolen, and they
Oh.
were whoever stole his identity
Was
was
stealing
also
stuff from Apple.
yes. So he's suing them because he was like, "How do you know if they only stole my identity? Like, how do you know what I look like? Like, if I didn't have my face on it?
They have facial recognition.
That's why. So he's suing them for $1 billion.
Oh, shit.
Yeah. So, but Apple's like, we don't have facial recognition. And he's like, well, how do you know who I am then?
We just Googled you, bro.
Maybe,
Damn.
but if you don't have any Facebook, Instagram, anything like that, they can't know what you look like unless they know what you look like. You know what I mean?
Maybe. I think Apple can figure out ways to see how he look without their internal
Think
database.
so? Or they just was like scan, facial recognition. I'm like, all right, we got this guy. What if this guy, right, is like a criminal mastermind? He's like, I'm gonna let people know about this facial recognition stuff, but I gotta like masquerade around and steal some stuff. That'd be dope.
Smart, very smart.
HBO, hit me up.
Funniest man in Cincinnati. He can
Right?
be yours. All yours.
That's all it takes. All it takes, HBO, is that one email. Be the next Game of Thrones.
I think everyone is rushing to this bubble market, like the bonds, the IOUs plus the stocks, and taking money from regular investors and trying to give it to Saudi or this Uber or Lyft. That's what you're having, like a transfer of wealth from the market's investors to the companies. That's what I think is happening. And get ready for maybe a pop in the bubble. That is what I'm thinking now. With all these guys trying to take money from the market, it could be something that popped the bubble. Be careful.
Yeah, interesting. To Uber's defense, if you look at their financials, like if you look at their S1, the S1 is the document that the company files as it's going public, which reveals some of the financial information. And
Did you look at this?
I did a little bit.
And Danny, very smart boy.
Some of their mature markets, like the cities that have been operating for years and years, like Chicago, for example, are profitable. But they're growing so fast, they're entering all these new markets. And when you first enter a market, in order to get market share, you got to invest millions and millions in marketing and all of that. But some of the cities that have been up and running for a while, they are profitable.
Yes.
So that's,
One positive for Uber. Yes. The question is how fast they will make that money back, and will all the cities be profitable? Some cities maybe are not big metropolitan cities. It may not be as profitable.
Right.
The other thing is, a lot of these companies like Saudi Arabia and SoftBank, they invest in Uber, but they also invest in Uber competitor in Latin America, in Japan and other. They don't invest in Uber there. So Uber have more competition international. Could be problem.
Yeah.
My friends, that's all I want to say about Uber. Anybody have any final thought? Uber thought?
Final Uber thought? Is there Ubers in Saudi Arabia?
Good question.
I think
You plan to visit?
Yeah, maybe.
You want to go to Mecca? Maybe clean your heart?
Possibly, yeah.
Get all the lubricant
I'm like,
out?
Uber, take me to Mecca, please.
Uber airplane.
Yeah.
Uber helicopter.
The Crown Prince of Saudi Arabia, MBS,
Yes.
Mohammed bin Salman.
Yes.
He's,
Crazy man.
Yes.
Very crazy man. I don't like him. He no marry my granddaughter.
Yeah, and that's probably a good idea. But one thing that he did do is he's allowed women to drive.
Yes, he did.
Wow,
Yes.
it's 2019. Women can finally drive in Saudi Arabia. And so Uber is really taking off there because all these women are driving Uber.
Oh, so
you know what's
there's
surprising?
Uber.
There's been more car crashes ever since then. That was just
Za Ree Ree don't like that. Okay? We
it's
drive good.
hilarious.
We women drive good. Okay? People with the name Noshod, they drive shitty.
Hey, there's more Noshod in Saudi than there is in America.
This is true. This is true. My friends, goodbye. God help you.
Bye, Grandma.
I see you at my house, Danny.
Yes.
We bring you tea.
Yabra and Fool.
Yabra and Fool on the way.
Manaish.
Manaish
that
for
sounds
you.
so good.
Goodbye.
See you later, Za Ree Ree.
What's up, y'all? Hey, man, why are you talking so much smack to my grandma?
Hey, your grandma was trying to so I was just appeasing her sensibilities is all.
Man, you saying that shit with me right here? I'm ready to take you down, man.
Look, get your grandma. Don't come at me, man. Look, older people are entitled to have a fabulous sex life as well.
Absolutely.
So stop attacking her for liking me.
But it shouldn't be with you. You gotta know when to say no.
I don't know when to say.
All right, y'all. Let's talk about the trade war.
Okay.
That's the other thing going on. That's a big, heavy thing on the stock market right now. Last week, the stock market went down basically every day because of the trade war. Everyone thought we were about to sign a deal with China, and then that deal didn't go through. Have you guys been following much of this?
A little bit.
A little bit.
Yeah.
Do you have any opinions on it?
I think it's a tool that DJT, our beloved Donald J. Trump, is using to rile up his base. That, to keep jobs in America, to keep manufacturing in America, we ought to tax essentially imports from China.
Right.
And I'm doing that as your leader to preserve, again, production in America.
In America, right.
Yeah.
Right. And so then they all get excited, like, oh, this guy's got our back.
That's right. I don't think in reality he wants a trade war. I think he's very much a free market guy, but he's got to play to his base.
Mm.
Yeah, he's got to be prepared for the next election. That's what most presidents
2020, baby.
Yeah.
I mean, look, it is hard to mess with China in this way from an economic perspective, American economic. We're so deeply embedded and in bed with China economically.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
Like, just that 5G is an example. Like, basically, the most patents on 5G, China has. They've been the leaders on 5G. America kind of shit the bed with 5G. We haven't really done a whole lot. Like, Intel and Qualcomm just really didn't have a big impact on bringing the
question.
5G. What's up?
Why don't okay, so China's like the marketplace for like most things, right? So why don't, like, as a president, why won't you be like, well, I'll compete in a way where like we will create everything and then like just make 2 warehouses and be like, all right, this is the start, and then they
President of China or President of U.S.?
President of U.S.
Yeah, basically, like, you're saying basically like what's it called? Like survival of the fittest, like, or like best man wins.
Right, like just we'll create the same thing, but like, just to give the American people a sense that like there are more jobs happening.
I mean,
and then eventually we could probably compete. Maybe, I doubt it.
No, but
maybe.
here's the thing: all the things China makes are things that we used to make.
Right.
They just make it cheaper because
That's
of
right.
because of where their economy is. They're not as developed, so labor is much cheaper.
Oh, look, so they just break down that wall, let the Mexicans come over, let them make them cell phones, and then it'll be the Mexicans versus the Chinese. Oh, man. That's a fabulous war.
We already do that, right? Like, we sent down the Mexican-Chinese war.
Oh, my God. It'll be the cheapest war.
I'm not going to lie, man. I'm not going to lie, man. Like, I think China would just destroy Mexico. It wouldn't even be a war.
I don't know, man.
Yeah, 1.2 billion strong.
Yeah, man. This is China, man.
Mexico? What?
China.
Them boys.
China.
Them
China
boys
is
right
not
there.
China's not just a nation or a culture, man. They're a civilization, man. They've been around for like thousands of years, doing all sorts of amazing stuff.
Yeah.
So like.
But drugs, though. Mexico and their drugs. And man, I don't know. I think they could compete somehow. That shit'll be fire. You know what I've learned also too is that Chinese people don't like Mexicans. I don't know. I forgot where I learned that from. But it's a true statement. So
Now you have some Hispanic blood, Latino blood in you, don't you?
I do. I'm Panamanian. Central
Panama.
Yeah.
Half
Central
Panamanian?
America. Yeah, half Panamanian. Yep.
Do you feel like Chinese people hate you?
Yeah. Well, it's not because I'm Panamanian. It's because I'm black.
You're making Chinese people out to be racist, man.
Panamanian is an awesome word, by the way.
It is a cool word, right?
Panamanian.
Good
Yeah.
catch.
I mean, isn't that what I forgot what that white band is. They made that song, Panama, Panama.
Yeah, I don't know either.
What's that group called?
Yeah.
You're in the wrong table, man. You're in the wrong room.
Oh,
All right. So not just do I think DJT is doing this to rile up his base, but I think it's also about taxes, right? Like, we're so embedded with China with all the stuff we produce. Americans are the ones who pay these tariffs, these taxes, right, on all these things. What's up?
I'm sorry. I was talking about like China send a missile over and it'll break halfway through.
It's like one of the like a low quality Chinese.
Yeah, it'd be
missile.
full of lead. and Dora the Explorer toys. Mexico would be like.
You mean they put Dora the Explorer toys in the missile? What the hell are you talking about?
Yeah, it'd be funny. Or
That
it
would
would
be
look
good.
like Dora the Explorer, regardless.
Look, man, I think what can happen here this is what happens with these tariffs. The president's actually able to raise taxes on the middle class who buy all this Chinese stuff by putting tariffs in there, right? We're not just gonna suddenly stop buying stuff from China overnight. We need we're used to, our lifestyle's used to all this shit. We don't just turn it off right away. We still buy it. Prices go up, you know. So there's no annoying debate. There's no vote. He just raises taxes just like that on billions and billions of dollars of goods. So that executive order, he's easily able to sneak it in, and he's able to say, "Oh, it's the boogeyman, China, so that's why we should all pay more taxes." Yeah. So I think that's also some bullshit.
Yeah, the way one thing about him is he's a marketer, right?
Yeah, that's promoter.
That's what he is.
DJT's a promoter.
You know, he knows how to get on his Twitter megaphone and paint China as the bad guy. And
I have an inner. I think everyone has an inner Donald Trump. Definitely got an inner Donald Trump. Like when I was 16, right? I had this wacky idea. I had just gotten like one of those AOL CDs. Do you remember those by chance?
Sure.
Where you get 100. You might not remember this section, Noshod and Yahya. The internet. You used to have to pay money to get on the internet. You used to have to. You have to pay AOL a monthly fee of $20 a month. Do you remember this thing?
Net neutrality before it started.
What was that?
I said net neutrality before it started.
Basically.
Yeah.
And so you'd sometimes get CDs in the mail, where it'd say 100 hours for free. Just put this CD in your DVD-ROM or your CD-ROM.
Right.
And I used to do that, and I'd get on the internet for 100 hours, and I'd try and go find another CD and put that in for another 100 hours and find another CD. I was just gaming the system. Yeah. Anyway, I had this idea when I first got on the internet, when it was first coming out, being invented, I guess. I'm like, yo, I'm 16. I got a car now. I should throw a party and invite a bunch of people and charge $10 a head. Mm-hmm. And so
seems standard.
Well, yeah, right. But I went Donald Trump style. Like I went and found, like I started going around to all the apartment complexes in the neighborhood to see if they'd rent me the rec room, so I can have like a whole upstairs and downstairs kind of thing going. I got a smoke machine, a DJ. I printed out flyers, did this whole thing,
And nobody came.
Nobody came.
Damn. I was getting ready to say you were a young, enterprising individual.
Oh man.
Nobody came.
No one came. and then I only did flyers for my high school, so only like 8 people showed up. I lost money. But then I did a second one, and this time I brought a smoke machine. And I put flyers out to another high school.
Yeah.
And nobody came.
And nobody came.
Talking about those AOL CDs and bringing it back to what you were saying about Uber, or what your grandma was saying about Uber.
Right. Thank you.
Like they used to charge, right, $100 for 100 hours or $20 for the CD or whatever it is. And then at one point they replaced the CEO, and the new CEO came in and he said, we ought to just give this for free. Let everybody get on AOL, and once they're in our walled garden.
Right.
And then we can sell them services. But then they're so used to AOL, they know how the interface works, they know how the email works, they're comfortable.
They're hooked in.
That's how you do it.
They're married to it. It's like Facebook.
It is. That was really the beginning of like this whole idea of like freemium in the technology world.
And get them hooked in.
And Uber's still doing it to this day. Your first 10 rides are free, right? How many guys you see handing out Uber codes?
Whose first 10 rides to Uber?
Like,
you don't get that?
Hell no, I've never had free rides on Uber.
Oh man.
Sometimes they give you promotional stuff. That's how I tasted Uber and Lyft, was because I got some free rides. And I was
you
like,
can
all right.
still do it. And the app, you can refer a friend, right? You send them your code, they get, I don't know, I think now it's like $20.
Yeah, but everybody's got Uber now, so you just
now they do. So now they're reaping the benefits.
Yeah. Damn, man.
So
free rides.
So I was like a party promoter, just like Donald. Now don't worry. After the third party, I started doing flyers to all the high schools.
There you go.
And we were banging, baby. We had lots of people come through the door. I was doing all sorts of illegal stuff. The whole thing ended in tears, unfortunately. I got arrested, and I was up to some no good there.
I could just imagine you alone with a fog machine, just being like, "Why isn't this working?"
In handcuffs.
All right, so back to the trade war. So yeah, he's raising taxes for free, baby. That's what he's doing. And everyone in the newspapers, if you read about this, they're like, yo, it's China's ambition versus our ambition. Right. It's China as an imperialist, or China like the ruling power, and America the ruling power. It's all imperialism. It's all a big dick measuring contest. You know what I'm saying? That's what I think. It's like, yo, get over yourselves, man. Like, this is stupid. Like, why would we make it us versus them? Like, we need them, they need us. Why would we go to war, trade war? That could lead to a real war. Yeah. The whole thing smacks of imperialism. I think what this is for us as Americans, this China thing, this trade war, it distracts us also from our real problems. Like, yo, we complain about China being terrible to people in Tibet, or China being an authoritarian regime, a dictatorship, President Xi has no elections anymore, what China's doing to 1 million Muslims, I mean, that's horrendous. It's horrendous. But
Yeah,
yo,
basically concentration camps.
concentration camps. That's
Yeah.
exactly, they're incarcerating Muslims over there, the Uyghurs.
They're brainwashing them too.
Ridiculous.
Yeah.
It's crazy
How
shit.
Where
so?
is it? Yeah, where is
Like
it?
they're literally like making them denounce their faith and like
Yeah.
they can't go to mosque or anything like that, and they're re-educating them on what they should believe.
Wow.
There's
why-
20 million Muslims in China. 1 million have been incarcerated and
The
locked.
Uyghurs.
Wow.
The Uyghurs. This is in Western China. I think it's called Jianjing.
They can't leave, or
In those million can't leave. I mean, I think they're incarcerated.
no?
They're
I'm
in prison.
talking about just overall. Like they can't be like, all right, we out.
The other 19 million,
Yeah.
I'm sure they're probably thinking about like what's up, what we need to do.
Dang, is that legal? Or well,
It's China, man. They're a
they can do
dictatorship.
whatever.
They can do-
Yeah.
But here's my point. Like we spend so much time focusing on that. Like yo, we got our own Islamophobia in this country.
It's very
Right?
true. Yeah.
We got our own racism and bigotry in this country. I mean, look at the school shooting. Look at everything that's happening. We got our major problems. And I think what happens is you create these trade wars, and we don't deal with the real shit we need to deal with, like our own problems. We just say, oh, look at China, they suck. It's like, yo, stop pointing the finger at them. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So I think this whole thing is like, we're jealous. Like China's pulled hundreds of millions of people out of poverty, and we got the opposite direction going. Like our poor people are getting poorer.
Right.
And
Yeah.
so this whole trade war is just let's focus on them instead of focus on our own shit. I think if Trump wasn't such a sledgehammer with this trade war, I think if he was wiser, right, if he was more thoughtful, instead of just focusing on trade, like moving towards a real war, why not figure out like how we can cooperate with them economically so that they benefit and we benefit.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
And I think that's what he's aiming for. He's using this as a negotiation technique, right?
He wants it, right?
Yeah.
And I don't think it's working.
It's like you show up at the negotiation table on a Sunday, but Monday through Saturday you've been on Twitter being like, "Oh, these guys are all messed up. And
Yeah.
we're gonna they're doing all this."
Talking a bunch of shit.
Yeah, I mean, we got to remember that China is our biggest lender. The United
Yeah.
States government bonds, the number one holder of those bonds is China. So it's like, you don't want to bite the hand that feeds
We're
you.
poking the bear.
That's right.
Right? We need them. They need us. We're in different parts of our life cycle.
Yeah, Donald Trump is like everybody who's on Twitter. Everybody exact same. You go to your job, you try to do something in your job, and you can't, and then you talk shit on Twitter. That's what everybody does. He's part of what we all are in America.
Mm-hmm.
Bunch of bitches.
This
Man.
is America.
Economic growth for them and for us, it's a cooperative thing. Like, we need to cooperate with them. We need them. They need us. It's not a dick measuring contest. But that's what it's becoming. Like, who's going to be the more powerful country? It's like, yo, get over yourselves, man, They're a civilization. We're a civilization. Let's just figure this shit out. We're not messing with a small bear. He's trying to destroy them and make them an enemy in many ways through this trade war, hoping that they'll just agree to our shit so that we can all cooperate. But I think it's not the right way to do it, man.
I don't think I'll be able to. I think I won't be able to side with America on this war.
Really? You can
Yeah.
go fight for the Chinese?
Yeah, I like Pokemon too much.
You know
Dragon
those
Ball Z.
the missiles you're gonna be firing are gonna just halfway through on the way to America just fall apart.
I know, but then they'll cut off Crunchyroll and shit like that. I won't be able to stand it. I'm
No
like-
more anime.
I'm like, no. I'm sorry, China.
You do know anime.
It's
Japanese.
Japan. I know.
we had the problem in the shot last time,
I
right?
know.
He was just making everything to be Chinese.
Just whatever, man.
Dumb. I think this war is dumb. We're taxing ourselves. We're hurting ourselves. We're eating ourselves from the inside out. I mean, China does have problems, but there's other ways to get around. I think if we got super tight with China's neighbors and increase free trade with all them, that would pressure China a little bit in a good way, build relationships with other people around them. I think that China is stealing a lot of our IP. I think we need to do the homework and figure out who all the companies are. We just keep blaming Huawei. Like, figure out who's stealing it and sanction those companies. Like, we instead of like creating a big ass war, distraction.
Yeah.
Well, that's how we handle things. We just fight.
That's what we do.
Yeah. As people, we just fight.
Yeah, brass
So-
knuckles.
Right.
Go straight to it.
We don't be like, oh man, maybe we. No, we just we just be like, no, fuck fam, and then we just start fighting.
All right, let's transition to you, Danny.
Okay.
Teach us some stuff, baby.
Oh.
Sorry. So Danny, what I love about Danny, right? He's smart. He speaks so clearly. He understands. He's cool as a cucumber. Cooler than you, Noshod, for sure.
Oh, that's hard to be, man.
Woo. And so, yeah. So what I love about so Danny, what one privilege, one benefit you did have, right? Your father, Tony, was running one of the biggest real estate companies in Chicago for a long time.
Yeah.
Your dad was running, I can't remember what he told me, 75 or 100 fast food locations. Panda Express, Papa John's, I think he was telling me. And then he was actively involved in the political process, right? He was aware that, as we notice on this podcast, politics is deeply intertwined with stock markets and businesses and all that. He got that. He made relationships. And so you grew up in that world. So you were able to you had a front row seat to an amazing business person, right? And then here you go to the Booth Business School, right, University of Chicago, and then you start one of your first things you did out of there was some technology startups. Is that right?
Yeah, it is. And thank you for that intro on him. Very blessed, man. I've been incredibly blessed to grow up in that family and be around him, have him as a role model. So this guy, if we can go back to the old man for a minute.
Yeah.
I mean, this guy got out of Syria at the age of 18 and came to Chicago to go to IIT and study
engineering.
Study civil engineering. Right. And
so not business.
No, he's an engineer by
trade.
Which is a big thing with Middle
Wow.
Eastern people. That's a status thing. You know how sometimes status is like being a doctor or being famous.
Right.
For Middle Eastern people, it's like being an engineer.
Yeah, I've heard the stories.
Yeah, and he paid his way through school by bussing tables, driving taxis, working telemarketing. I mean, any job you can think of, he had it. Fast, everything. And he's always been, a hardworking guy. And so he went to work at, I'm going to give a little bio on him.
Go for it, brother.
So he went to work at a firm called Sargent Lundy, which is a nuclear engineering company still in Chicago.
Huh. They build power plants or something?
They used to be in production, but now they essentially provide services, consulting services to operators like Exelon.
Yep.
Yeah. So he did that for 2-3 years, and then, the way he tells the story is man, one day I walked in the office and I saw my boss, and I saw my boss's boss, and I saw my boss's boss's boss, and my boss's right, and it's where does this end? I'm gonna end up being that guy in 30 years, still working the same company, still basically doing the same thing. He's like, no, that's not for me. So he left, and he looked for something to do. He ended up meeting a guy who was operating a tiny engineering company in Hawaii. It's like a 4-man shop, and he had he raised some money from family and friends.
The small engineering? Oh, your dad raised it?
Yeah, my old man did.
Oh, your dad raised some money. Okay.
Right. So and he had a purchase contract with this guy who was on in Hawaii, this little engineering company, and he was going to buy and own and obviously work his own engineering company.
Your dad was going to buy the Hawaiian company?
Correct.
Oh, okay,
yeah,
cool.
with some money he raised.
Yeah.
Right. So he was so proud.
I'm about to have my own engineering
I'm
company.
About to, I'm a businessman now. This is great.
How old is he? Do you remember?
This is
probably 20s.
He's probably early 20s. Yeah, early mid 20s.
Damn, he went straight out swinging.
Right. Yeah, after a couple years, so maybe mid 20s.
On small Disney stuff.
Right. Early on, right.
So he quits his job, right? They throw a big going away party for him and all this. He flies out to Hawaii for the closing, and the seller doesn't show up, and instead his lawyer shows up, and he's like, my client, I don't know, he's having a change of heart, and he adds $500,000 to the purchase price, let's say.
Your dad or the lawyer?
No,
The lawyer.
the seller, of course.
Oh shit.
Yeah, the seller's lawyer.
Right.
And Dad's like, no, no way. I had only so much money raised, and you can't just do this. And so the bottom line, the deal fell through.
Damn.
Man, the deal fell through. And dad's like, this is like his dark stages. Right?
Yeah, yeah,
'Cause
yeah.
He's like, I just
Dark
quit my
night.
job. I can't go back to the company like with my tail tucked between my
Right.
legs. I left there. They threw a party for me. Like, what am
I'm going away
you
from
can't,
him.
you can't show up the next day. Like, well, it didn't work. So
Can we have a coming back party?
so at this time he was kind of trying to figure out what to do, and through a buddy of his in college, he had the most fortuitous meeting of all time. His buddy's like, I want you to meet this guy. He's working on some political campaign, some political stuff. Why don't you meet this guy and see if there's an opportunity for you. Dad ends up going to meet a guy by the name of Herbert Muhammad.
Herbert Muhammad.
Yeah, and Herbert Muhammad was
He was like your dad's Mickey Mouse.
Yeah. Well, he was like
like Walt Disney's Mickey Mouse.
He was like a father figure to
Saw a
him.
rat, and then he was like, "That's what I'm gonna do."
That's what I'm gonna do. So he's kind of like a father figure.
Yeah.
Older man.
And he ends up going to work for him.
Okay.
After some tests, right? Puts him through some tests.
Who put who through tests?
Herbert put Pops through some tests.
Oh, for real?
Yeah, to see like
Obstacle course? What?
like to see if he was trustworthy. Right?
Oh, all right.
Right. So
Interesting.
Give him some opportunities.
He's like, trust fall.
Trust fall. Do you remember what those tests were?
So basically, it was like there were guys that would come to Dad and offer like money under the table.
Oh, snap.
Right.
Dang.
That's smart.
And
by
I
Herbert.
take back the Disney thing. He was his Willy Wonka, yo.
Right. And the idea is like, is he gonna take the money? Or
Right.
is he gonna tell me about it? And
Damn.
of course, he told him about
Good
it.
Your dad
job,
told him.
Charlie.
Right. So he earned his trust. So Herbert Muhammad, as it turned out, was Muhammad Ali's business manager. And this is like in the 70s and 80s. Now.
Okay, so Muhammad Ali's pretty big at that point.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So Dad ends up
Extremely
being
big.
his assistant. Dad ends up being Herbert Muhammad's assistant.
Okay.
Basically, business manager to
Right.
Muhammad Ali.
Wow.
For like a kid in his mid-20s.
Man.
So this gave Dad incredible experience traveling to
Right.
countries, meeting foreign leaders, meeting
Whoa.
heads of state, getting calls from the head of Nintendo, like, we want to put him on a video game, and like negotiating that contract.
Oh, no
right?
shit.
And just getting more and more responsibility. So that was like his business school, right? And
Right.
that's greater.
There's
than-
no better. There's no
there's
better.
Right.
you know,
On the
booth or
job
whatever, yeah.
business school.
Dude,
No
there's
doubt.
nothing better than that. Wow, that
No
is
doubt.
pure. That's a blessing.
Yeah, and right around this time.
But the truth is,
Yeah.
also, a lot of people, Herbert tested him. Herbert's not a dumb person. Like, most people actually can't do that job. I think most people, if Herbert probably bumped into a lot of people and was trying to find the right person, couldn't find the right person.
Yeah.
So your dad also probably had something Herbert saw.
Gave him the golden ticket.
That's right, baby.
Incredible. Right, that meeting, like the college buddy, meet this guy, and that really launched Dad's career. That's how we got into business. That's how we got into politics. Mayor Harold Washington, the first
Yeah, I
African
remember.
American
Yeah.
Mhm.
mayor in the city of Chicago.
Early mid 80s.
Correct. Yeah. So he, Herbert, and his crew ended up being big time supporters of him, and so
Right.
Dad kind of learned how to politics.
Ah.
Here's how an election works. Here's how fundraising works. Here's how this works. Here's how that works. Right.
Okay.
So that was his entry into that world. And then, like, shortly after, he started stepping away from the Ali gang and started going out on his own.
On his own.
And his first business venture was running a catering service out of the South Shore Club on, like, 71st
Yep.
and South Shore.
I know
down
that.
there.
Yeah.
I think they're redoing it now.
Yep.
But so he started a catering service there.
I think that's where they had a Real Man Cook, if I'm correct.
What's Real Man Cook?
Yeah.
Real Man Cook is like a summer thing where like a whole bunch of men come and like cook their like specialties, and then
Oh,
like
cool.
just
That makes
anybody-
sense.
Yeah.
That'd be the place to do it. I can see that.
That
Anybody
sounds
can
awesome.
come and eat it. Yeah, it's great. I used to do it a couple years when I was younger.
Nice.
Yeah.
That's
So
awesome.
he's running a catering service out of there.
Right. And
Okay.
then he at one point, the city of Chicago was offering concession licenses to sell concessions on the beach, like
Yep.
North Avenue Beach.
Lake Michigan. Okay.
Yeah, right. So, and he ended up getting a couple of those. And
Oh,
so,
cool.
that's like some of my earliest memories as a child, like around business.
Oh, for real? You'd go with your
Well,
dad?
yeah, and kind of like seeing how these things, this is an all cash business, right? hot
Right,
dog 50
right,
cents,
right.
ice cream buck, and we had all our
Just
family,
hustling.
We had all our family members in there.
Right.
My cousins working the hot dog stand.
Dude,
She
this
was
is a
running the
classic
ice
Middle
cream
Eastern
shop.
family. This is how we did the restaurant and the grocery store. Like we
Yeah.
all hands on deck.
And then at the
We
end,
had my grandma involved. She was cutting coupons, helping.
Za Ree Ree?
Za Ree Ree, she was doing it for real. She
Damn.
would cut coupons. All right, she would cut coupons, and my dad would take those coupons to like Omni. I don't know, yeah, Walmart, the equivalent of Walmart in the
Right.
'80s. And my dad would just take hundreds of coupons and buy like hundreds of boxes of cereal and diapers, and then use the coupons to buy those, and then take them back to his store, price them, and resell them.
Wow, that's a G move right there.
Gangster, bro.
now, we know how to hustle.
Yeah.
Grandma was even helping. So you're selling, man. So you're a kid selling hot dogs on the beach.
Right. So, and then he
Better
got-
than cake by the ocean, baby.
That's So then he got into the franchising, Subways, Papa John's, Panda Expresses.
Oh, right, from the concession. Okay, so he
Right.
started no food, so he goes
Right.
in that.
Exactly.
Right.
Yeah,
I mean,
he-
and what he told me was like he had a lot of them at some point, and I was like, damn.
Yeah, I mean, he had the first Subway in the city of Chicago.
Oh, for real?
Yeah.
The first Subway franchise.
Yeah. First
Oh, snap.
Subway sandwich. Yes.
Okay.
Wow.
And him and my mom worked them, and again,
Right.
the relatives.
Family, baby.
Then he heard about Panda Express because they had a single store in one of the food courts that we had a Subway in. And he sees like people lining up for this Chinese food. And it's like, what the hell's going on over here? So he goes by
Chinese
there.
Oh, that's another way. I don't think I could give up orange chicken either. So
Hell no. Who could give up orange chicken, baby?
man, or rat
Yo.
chicken, whatever.
But just
it
so
is.
you know, rat chicken. Yo, that rat chicken you enjoy, it sounds like it's about to be Danny's dad, who you can thank for that to bring to Chicago.
Oh,
Yeah.
the first Chinese.
So they had one.
Oh,
And I think it may have been like a predecessor to Panda Express, like Panda Inn or
Mm.
some other name. I don't
Mm.
think it was actually Panda Express. But
wait. Okay. So, they not Panda. I thought you were talking about. This is Panda Express. There's a difference between Panda Express and just like
Real Chinese food?
like a random Chinese food store
Yeah, yeah,
somewhere
yeah.
like that.
But you got to admit, Panda Express helped make Chinese food.
And that was the thing, is like
I don't know about
Chinese
that.
food back then was like, your mom and pop, and you
Right.
like order behind a fence,
Right.
and there's like
Uh-huh.
some mysterious thing going on
Exactly.
in the kitchen. And out comes your,
Right,
your
out
best
comes your
plate.
orange
That's still
chicken.
the case in a lot of mom and pop
That-
Chinese
Right.
places.
That is.
On days where I hate myself, I'm like, let me go to that place. You know?
Mhm. And I just forget everything. I'm like, don't think about it. Don't think
Don't think about it.
Like international cuisine is kind of gone. Like that's how Mexican food used to be. And then
Right.
Chipotle
Right.
came about. It's like
Right.
all the food's in front of us.
Right.
We're not hiding anything. And then
Shit,
that took
Chipotle
off. And then
ain't
Middle
that good
Eastern,
either.
right?
Right. Same
so,
thing.
So anyway, yeah, he saw like the lines out the door, and he's like, I
We
gotta
gotta do
figure out what
Panda.
This is, and he ended up meeting the founder, Andrew, and they got along great. He put him through a couple of tests too.
For real. Everyone's testing your poor dad, man.
Hey, you gotta.
Life.
I mean, who are you? Knocking on
Right.
my door and
True
trying
that.
to. It's like,
True that.
you know.
I like that.
So, then he.
So he
yeah,
starts opening Panda Expresses too.
correct.
Yeah.
Panda Express.
How many of those did he have?
I think at the peak he had maybe like 50 or 60 of them.
Wow.
And then he got into Papa John's too. Him and Andrew, the Panda Express founder, ended up going to one of these like food conferences at the McCormick Center here in town.
Mm-hmm.
And there was a presentation given by this pizza guy, Papa John.
Ah.
Yeah, I forget his last Schnatter.
At the time, his name was Father John.
He hadn't graduated to Papa level yet. And he was giving a presentation, and the whole presentation was about the tomatoes, about where they buy, like the farmers that they buy the tomatoes
This
from.
is what your brother was talking about last time I was here.
Going
yeah.
to the produce market, right?
Mhm.
Yeah, and like Dad and Andrew were both so impressed. Like, here's a pizza guy, and all he's talking about is like how the
Tomatoes.
farmers grow the tomatoes and the organic way that they raise them and how they harvest
It's
them
pretty
and
good.
how Papa John's acquires them and then puts that's the tomato sauce.
Right.
So like that just floored him.
Right.
So he ended up being a franchisee of Papa John's and got up to like 80. Or
Oh
100
snap!
stores,
80 of those.
Yeah.
Panda and Papa John's.
Man.
Damn, y'all done dominated Italian and Chinese.
There you
Hopefully they don't go to war one day.
Right? You need to. Oh, that'll be the most boringest war in the world. It wouldn't be no fun. not.
But why,
interested in
China,
wives.
por favor. Basta. We don't need no water.
No, you should tell me. Sound almost the same.
All right, so okay, got it. So wow, that's a great story about your dad. What a build up. All right, so then you grew up seeing all this, so clearly it's in your bones. And then what's funny, I went to UFC as well for undergrad. You went to grad, so you come out of grad school. You don't do a lot of the things your dad does. You instead go the tech route.
Yeah. So, I was very fortunate growing up again. And, we started out on the south side. And, I was telling him earlier, like 51st and Ellis, which is, not bad. But, we got broken into. We got robbed. We got, our car got broken into.
Yeah.
So, kind of grew up, like, seeing that. And then, we ended up moving out to the suburbs, and I always felt so fortunate and so blessed. And in my mind, it was always like, I'm gonna end up working with pops, like I'm gonna end up working with the old man. It's just like, this high school's like, this is nonsense, like I'm just gonna cruise through here, just like privilege.
Yeah.
I go to undergrad at University of Illinois down in Champaign, kind of the same story. Like I'm kind of messing around, like this is all good.
Yeah.
And then, freshman year, he ended up getting indicted. And, that started a whirlwind of, crazy emotions and crazy.
You're 18, 19?
Yep. 18, 19, yep. And then, to make a super long story short, he ended up getting convicted for crimes he did not do. But, we'll save that for another podcast maybe. And he ended up he got sentenced to 10 and a half years in prison, federal prison, of which he served 8. And that was, like, I was in college then. And up until that point, I was like, it's all Gucci, right?
Yeah,
like, it's all good.
Then you saw that shit, you was like, hell no.
And I was like, man,
your whole world is turned upside down.
that's it. And
Completely.
My mom and sister and brother are back home. I was away at school.
Yeah, back home in suburbs of Chicago.
Right. And it's like, just a lot. Just a lot.
That's huge.
To take in.
That's more than a lot, man. That's called real adversity, right?
Yeah.
Like I told you, man. I lost my dad 4 months ago.
Yeah.
It's not been easy, and I don't. You have a healthy appreciation for your dad. That frankly, I'm probably more unfortunately egotistical or arrogant than you. Like, I would go fisticuffs with my dad. So, I just butt heads with my dads a lot.
Right.
And he's an immigrant. He doesn't know as good as me, and I'm smarter than him. It was like, I had my head up my ass, And only in the last decade have I been like, yo, this man has balls coming from the old country, coming here, opening up businesses.
Yeah.
Most Americans don't open up businesses. They go over to a corporate job and just give me something safe. My dad was like, no, I don't speak the language that great. I don't give a shit. I'm going to try it,
Yeah, I feel the same way about my dad. And he's not like you guys' dad, open up business. Well, he is. He's like a small-time entrepreneur.
Is he the Panama side?
Yeah.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yep. So he came from this country, too, with, like, nothing. And then, like, now he lives in one of the best, like, prominent black neighborhoods on the south side, Bronzeville. That's at 47th. And doesn't work for anybody. And every time I look at it, I'm just like, wow.
Right.
If I could do that, but do this, that would be great.
Right, right. No, think of that. My dad never worked. He worked for the Hilton Hotel for like the first couple years in Baltimore, and then that's it, on his own the rest of his life.
Yeah.
So I appreciate that healthy appreciation you have. All right, so wow, yeah, that's a heavy story. I would love to hear about some of that story. Maybe we can talk about your dad a little more later, and just about how some of that was related to Rod Blagojevich, Barack Obama, and just the impact your dad had on Illinois politics, but also the country. Like I understood that your dad provided Barack his seed money, his first dollars, to begin running for U.S. Senate, and also would hold fundraisers for Barack. And even when I read something, I was doing a little homework before, something about, I was like, what did Barack say when all this shit was going on with Tony Rezko, with Danny's dad? And it was like, everything was just like, that's not the Tony I know.
Right.
We would visit. I think I saw something like we would visit Tony in Lake Geneva as friends. Were you there when Barack and your dad were becoming friends?
Yeah, man. I've met him more than a handful of times. Really, really solid dude. Like, really good dude. Real guy, you know? Like, I would call him. I asked him once about his thoughts on the Iraq War.
About what?
His thoughts on the Iraq War. I was in high school at the time, and I was like... You
called Barack?
Right, yeah. And I
hold
was
up. You called... Like, you just pick up the phone and call him?
I had him on the speed dial. I called him out. I'm like, Dad, I'd really like to know... You know, he was a senator at the time. I was like, I'd really love to know what he thinks about this stuff. Because I think, like...
He was like, please, don't ever call me again.
He's like, no, Danny.
But sure, I'll tell you.
Tell us about this conversation.
Yeah, so, I mean, basically what he said was, you know, we're not there for the... He kind of confirmed what I was beginning to suspect as like a young kid starting to have ideas that maybe America isn't as beautiful and great as she says she is.
Right.
And he's like, you know, I'm not sure we're in there for the right reasons. A lot of people are losing their lives over there.
And how old were you when he told you this?
Probably senior year of high school or junior.
16, 17.
Yeah, something like that.
It's like telling a kid there's no Santa Claus, man.
Yeah, for real. About America.
Yeah.
It is.
America's lies.
We're taught so much shit as kids about how America's so exceptional, right?
Yeah.
And better than the rest. We're the number one country. And man, so he's this is a senator giving it to him. So Danny's like, I believe this guy.
Right.
Yeah.
So he kind of schooled you on it.
He did. Yeah, it was fascinating to hear him expound on that.
And then he put you through the
cool.
test. He was like, Deaf to America? You're like, no. He's like,
we're cool, man.
just checking.
I'll tell you guys one more story about Barack, man. One time we were having a fundraiser at our place in Wilmette, and, you know, I was like, you know, shithead high school kid, and I was like, oh, and I was sick. I was sick for whatever reason. So the national championship basketball game was on, and like I think it was
NBA or NCAA?
NCAA. It was Georgia Tech versus UConn. This is like the UConn team with like
Damn.
Emeka Okafor and some of those cats.
Damn.
This is the Georgia Tech team with like Jarrett Jack and some of those guys. And so I was a big basketball fan, so I'm watching.
Screw
this
the fundraiser,
game.
right?
And I'm sick, so I'm like kind of hidden away and like, you know, downstairs or whatever. And like halfway through the second half, there's like 10 minutes left in the game. It's a tight game. And some guy comes and sits next to me. He's like, you know, you mind if I watch the game? I'm like, no, not at all.
Was it more like, Danny, do you mind if I sit down here?
Do you mind if I watch it?
Danny, scoot over. Trying to look at these scores. All right.
Don't mind my hand on your thigh.
Danny,
It's in his bedroom, man. I don't know. You know, anything can happen.
I end up watching like the second half of this national champion, and I had no idea who this guy. This was my first. So
it was
like,
Barack, right?
Right. That conversation about the Iraq, that was all after. So
yeah, of course, right.
So this is my first. I didn't know. Yeah, I didn't know the fundraiser was for him. You know, I'm like in my pajamas watching this damn game. Like, leave me the fuck alone. You know. That was, and then after, you know, so we start talking. You know, like. Because now I know, like, oh, this guy's a basketball fan. He knows all the players. He knows the stats.
All right, you can connect with him, right?
Now we're kind of chopping it up. And then only the next day or later that night, you know, my mom or somebody's like, you know, that was the guy who we were honoring. Like, and I'm like, oh, cool dude. Like, he's got my vote.
Yeah, he's got my vote, right. What a story. Cool. All right, teach us some shit about the corporate. Teach us about how to make money, right? So you went into try and do a tech startup. That did not succeed. Am I correct in that? Or did it succeed and you sold it? All right.
No.
Did you end up dissolving it and shutting it down?
Yeah. So when I graduated, so this stuff's happening with my old man.
Right.
I'm in college and like, okay, now he's going to prison. Like,
right.
You know, the whole time you have to understand. We were like, nothing's gonna happen. Like, we're straight. Like,
I would assume that's why he went to trial. He's like, no, I didn't.
Right. It's like, you know, we're gonna get acquitted. This is crazy. Like, sitting in the trial room and you're hearing these people, like, make shit up, right? And
people that your dad was tight with.
Right. Well, no, not
yeah,
wife,
right.
but just like people that were like, you know, maybe saving themselves, right?
But that's what I'm saying is like people he was tight with, or he was, and they're now on.
We'll call them like acquaintances, like business acquaintances, right?
Oh, he even previous he wasn't super tight with them.
No.
Oh,
No,
I
these
got
are,
you.
right. Like the star witness in
Just
the
people
trial
he's done
was
business
a
shit with.
guy named Stuart Levine, and if you were a jury member on this trial, you would think they were like the best of pals. Stuart,
I got
like
you.
one or two, like he was
Oh, man.
way on the periphery.
That happens. Oh yeah, I knew him, and yeah,
Of course,
I would
That
presume Stewart is going to say that to save his own ass.
that's right.
And so they cut a deal in the back
and
room.
Stuart and he ended up getting a reduced sentence to 5 years for his cooperation in that trial, where he was facing a life sentence in prison because he was a really bad guy, and he was
facing life?
Yeah, he was facing life. He was stealing
Damn.
money from
The hell was he doing, killing
like,
people?
He was stealing money from various institutions, like various not-for-profits that he was a part
I
of.
knew it had to have been that. 'Cause
Yeah.
that's
Why
that's
do you
probably
get- why
one
do
of
you
the
get
only
life?
reasons because it's non-for-profit.
Oh, damn.
Yeah, and he he was he was stealing money from I mean, anyway, so this guy was saving his own ass.
I
right?
got you.
So then he becomes
If he's
a star
going from,
witness.
if he's looking at 50 to 75 years of being in prison, assuming this guy's like 30 or something, 40, he's probably looking at 50 years in prison, and it goes down to 5 for
Right.
turning in Tony Rezko.
Where do I
Right.
sign up?
Well, exactly. Tell me what to say.
Yeah,
Damn,
right.
I could see that.
yeah.
I have not followed the trial. I don't know much about it, to be honest.
Old
I was
news
a younger
now.
dude, right? It's older news. However, that setup that you just gave there, I can see. I don't know who did what. I can see a person being like, "Yo, I'll say whatever you need me to say
Yeah.
Sure.
to get 5 years."
Yeah.
I mean, that's court in general. That happens on the lowest of charges. Even
That's right.
when somebody gets shot and you like are a part of it or are an accessory, be like, he did it, and then boop, that person goes to jail, and
Ooh.
you get less time and go to a different prison, because if you send me to jail for that long, I am beating your ass every
Right.
day.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay, so I'm sorry. We got derailed.
Yeah,
So
so-
yeah, you're like, "Oh shit, this is really happening."
Right,
You didn't
so-
expect it to happen the whole time.
Right.
And
So
it
now,
kinda-
So now it's like, 2008, where he actually gets convicted. So now I'm starting to think like, okay, like Dad's going away. And the day he got convicted, we were sitting in the courtroom, and they took him in. It was like that. Like we woke up that morning not knowing if because this was the end of the trial. Now the jury's deliberating, but you don't know when the jury's going to be done deliberating. Could be today, could be tomorrow. And every day that went by, our lawyers were like, this is more of an indication that like they're with us, like they're having a hard time, coming up with a conviction, innocent till proven guilty, right?
Right.
Yeah. So finally we hear, okay, today like the jury's reached a verdict. We go in there, I remember walking in with him. They read the verdict. It's like, man, like you've never felt that in your life,
Was it
We-
like news reporters
Yeah.
there?
Yeah, it was.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember. I'm 38, going to be 39. I was at J.P. Morgan in 2008. I remember reading about this in the paper every day for a month. What happened was Tony Rezko. So, Illinois politics are dirty, right?
Of course.
George
yes.
Ryan, also. And I remember the newspaper basically how they painted your dad. I mean, you probably were aware of this too, I guess, obviously, but they painted Tony Rezko as like the symbol. Like, we're gonna hold this dude up as he's the problem with Illinois politics.
Right.
They made him the scapegoat.
That's right.
You know
Yeah,
what I'm
well
saying?
said.
And I remember thinking, like, I don't know if this guy's guilty or not, but damn, they really have dragged his name through the mud.
Yeah.
Whoever
By the
this
way,
person
every
is.
news article, right, started with Middle Eastern.
Right,
business,
of course,
right?
of
Because
course.
if he doesn't look like,
Yep.
Yeah.
a
Let's
guy
make
that
sure-
should be successful. If
Right.
he looks like the enemy, right? Because
Yeah.
we're still in a post, we're in a post 9/11 America.
Let's make all people in Illinois not feel that
That's
bad.
the buzzwords.
Right.
Yeah, exactly. Let's make people in Illinois not feel that bad about how shitty their state is.
Right.
It's a Middle Eastern guy doing it.
By the way, like the the news reporters, all these guys, John Cass or Jackass as I like to call them, and all these guys. They would show up at the mess hall in the Durkinson Federal Building where the trial was being held, and there's like, good luck today, and as they're like scooping peas on their salad, and then they go home and they write this article. It's like, that's the same guy who said like good, it's like, I'm thinking of well of you. It's
Right.
crazy.
Well, I got you.
So-
Two-faced.
Yeah. Oh,
Yeah.
very much so. Yeah.
Mm.
So anyway, we keep getting derailed, but
Well, I guess it's important because it's like you're about to try and start a business career while this is going on.
Yeah.
So
That's
now,
hard.
Yeah, so I'm in college now, and I'm like, okay, man, Danny, like you're about to be the man in this family, right? I'm the oldest of three,
right.
So like
Damn.
we gotta start figuring shit out.
18
So,
years
like,
old.
Yeah, now I'm like 20, 21. You know, now I'm like, because he got convicted in 08, so now I'm a junior.
Okay.
Summer going into my junior year, senior year. And so, like, I started, like, okay, I got to focus, like, cut down on, you know, all the fun stuff a little bit. I opened the newspaper for, like, the first time in years. I'm like, oh, we're in a recession. Would you look at that? It's like, oh, shit.
I didn't know.
You know? Yeah. It's like, oh, okay, there's something going on, you know? Like,
wow.
I'm starting to, like, you know. And so when I was getting ready to graduate college, I was really having a tough time. Like, do I just go like corporate route? Because I never saw myself in that way. Like, I always had those genes in me where he like saw his boss's boss and his boss's boss, and I'm like, that's not going to be me. I'm not an office
Same
guy.
here, dude.
And so I would like talk to my professors, you know, guys that I respected, and be like, you know, I'm having a hard time. I was looking at food franchises at the time, and Dad's like my coach in prison, right?
Oh,
so
really?
Every week I drive up, you know, on Sunday or Saturday, and I'm
He's
like,
sending you his mixtape.
Right. So I'm coming, and I'm like, you know, so here's what I'm thinking. You know, there's this new company called Smash Burger. You know, what do you think about this? Or what do you think about, you know, this concept or that? And we're like, you know, putting numbers together, like kind of scheming.
That's dope.
Yeah. And yeah, I got some really valuable advice from one of my professors, and I was like, Jeff was his name. I was like, you know, Jeff, like, here's my dilemma. I don't know if I'm quite prepared to go into business by myself, but I also am like deathly afraid of being a corporate slave for the rest of my life, and I don't want to do that. Like, what do you think? What should I do? And he gave me some great advice, which I give to younger people now a lot. He said, Danny, life is long. He said, you're going to be able to do whatever you want to do, man. You can start a business later. Why don't you get some experience? You know, learn a little bit. Find some mentors, you know. Get in there. See what happens. And I was like, that just like lifted the weight. Because I thought if I go to corporate route, I'm going to be a corporate guy for
permanent.
my
I got you.
So I ended up going to work for a couple of years.
Oh, you did?
At a real estate family office in Highland Park. And that was, I got into real estate first before the tech stuff.
He clenched his fist and he was like, let's do this.
And it was like a year and a half I was there. And then I got in a booth and I started going there part-time.
Okay.
And, you know, like a year and a half into it, so we were, I think I've told you this before, Amr, but we were buying portfolios of non-performing assets off of banks that were like collapsing at the time, because this is 2010, 2011.
Right. So you're calling up Wells or JP or whoever, and you're like, yo, we'll take these 10 houses that are foreclosed. We'll take them off your hands all at one time.
Because they needed cash, right?
They need cash.
Yeah, and a lot of this was like FDIC stuff, where the FDIC came in, closed the bank down, fire
Countrywide, all that kind of shit.
Right, yep. So
IndyMac.
Yeah. Yes.
I remember these, yeah.
Yeah, man.
Okay.
So
That's cool.
I kind of
you saw a lot of shit there.
Yeah, I did. And I learned real estate. More from like an acquisition and valuation, a little bit, you know?
That's cool.
And then I struck out on my own. So like a year and a half into that, I had already started business school. There was one pool we were looking at the firm. And
Pool of loans, pool of assets.
Pool of loans, right? And I was telling, you know, my boss, I was like, yo, I like this one. I think we should go for this. And we ended up not pulling the trigger on it. He wanted, you know, he wanted to go in a different direction. So I ended up putting a bid in.
For yourself?
Yeah.
Your own money?
Yeah, me and a guy that I met, like working with the company. And we won.
Oh, you did?
Yeah, so the bank calls us and they're like, yeah, you're the winning bid. Congratulations. And we're like, holy shit.
You own these 10
like,
shitty houses.
Yeah, like this is nuts.
You own these 10 shitty houses in Idaho. Congratulations.
Dude.
You are the
still,
biggest owner in Cincinnati right there.
By the way, if you're free on May 24th, there's going to be a 22nd. There's going to be
I will be in Cincinnati making people happy.
But dudes, I shit you not, still to this day, the best business deal I've ever done.
Oh, really?
$500,000 face value worth of loans, and we bought it for $5,000. Penny on the dollar.
Wow.
Penny on the dollar.
Oh, what bank did you buy it from?
Not,
you buy it from the FDIC or from a bank?
It was from Citibank.
From Citibank.
You not, and we restructured it. We didn't even foreclose. Man,
Did you get in touch with each homeowner?
So there were.
Because now you own these loans. What happened? Do you guys understand what's happening here?
Explain it to me.
Yeah.
Can you explain it, Danny?
Yeah. So these were what are called C&I loans. So these are business loans.
Okay.
These were folks that were taking out loans on their business.
Oh, not homes.
Right. No,
Oh.
these weren't even homes. And then the business would go belly up or what
Okay.
have you, and folks would stop paying on their loans.
Okay.
And so what we would do was we would buy these things and we would try to negotiate, be a little bit more flexible.
And when
than
he
the
says
bank
buy
was.
these things, what he's saying is instead of the guy who owns a restaurant that borrowed this money, instead of them paying Citibank their monthly fee, or
Right.
instead of telling Citibank, hey, we're going bankrupt, he's the new Citibank.
Right, we stepped in. And we're
okay.
basically the bank.
They're the new
Except
bank.
the money's only going one way now, partner. It's
Oh.
coming from you to me at this point.
Yeah,
What the hell?
they paid. I can't believe Citi did that deal. Danny, you paid $5,000 to get how many loans was it?
It was, I think, 3 or 4. It was a small
3 or
pool,
4
but
loans.
we had a key insight, my man, and because I've been doing this for 2 years now, I know how to dig the dirt. So what these guys did is, these guys are professionals at skirting the banks, right?
What's that
Not
mean?
all of them. So what it means is, jot down some notes, you kids at home. So they would So when you run into trouble at the bank, the first thing the bank's going to do is they're going to run a credit report on you. See, all right, what does this guy have that we can go after if we need a
Maybe he's
file
got a house.
Okay,
Maybe he's
right.
got a house.
So right before he stops paying on the loan, he'll do transfers, what's called a fraudulent conveyance,
Oh,
which is
shit.
like, hey, brother, man, like, hold on to this real estate deed for me. Give me like
He'll
10
call up his brother or his cousin and be like,
Yeah.
yo, you now own my house.
Right. So then when I run the report,
Nothing's there.
well, this guy's a ghost.
So
There's nothing to
Citibank-
go after. We ought to sell this
And
loan to some
that
punk out of
is
Chicago.
illegal.
Right? That is illegal. And we-
Danny
and-
Rezko, what an idiot. He's
and-
willing to give us $5,000
right.
for these loans?
And we knew how to dig this stuff up, right? So I flew out to New York, went to the recorder of deeds of Queens County and looked up this dude's name and saw this fraudulent transfer of his
Wow.
Oh,
ex-wife.
shit.
And I'm like, got him.
Facial recognition, bro.
So once we bought the loans, we called up his lawyer and said, Mr. Lawyer, I know exactly what happened here, and we can do this one of 2 ways. Like, we can either let's work something out, or we can make this a big old huge mess because your client committed fraud.
Right.
And that got their attention real quick. That guy, they still pay us to this day. We've collected almost $200,000.
To
on
this
that.
day, they're still paying it?
Dang.
Damn.
Unbelievable, bro.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Wow.
is
That
crazy.
$200,000 off. Now, how about the other loans? Did they also perform?
No, they were all zeros.
Oh, zeros.
So
So you
that's
got one.
usually that's usually how it works.
Right, right,
yeah,
right.
one carries the day. So that was my first foray, like going into business for myself.
I didn't know
and then
that story.
Right around this time, I was at business school. My brother was starting the tech venture.
Oh, your brother's starting a tech
yeah,
venture.
he started.
Younger brother.
Right. Younger brother.
Okay.
And he was getting big in the tech, and he's always been big in the tech stuff. And so
Cool.
there was a business plan competition at my school at Booth, the New Venture Challenge. And so we submitted his idea, and they accepted it. So now we're in
Hold
this
on, real quick.
class.
That just goes to show that you just better pay your loans or die. You know what?
Yeah, or Danny Rezko's coming after you.
Right?
You're going
It's,
to find out.
Yeah, crazy stuff. But
So what do you get for submitting and winning competition? Do they give you money?
yeah, so the idea was it's actually a class.
And by the way, what's the tech company? Is it an app or something?
It was an app. Yeah, it was called Yella.
Yella?
Yella.
Oh, Y-U-L-L-A.
Yella.
Yella.
It was-
Which basically in Arabic means let's go.
Yeah.
Andale.
Andale.
Yeah,
Exactly.
it means
Yeah.
andale, yeah, in Arabic.
So what was Yella?
So it was basically a customer loyalty program
Huh.
for restaurant businesses,
Got it.
nail salons, hair
Cool.
salons, you name it. And I mean, we had a team. We had up to 10, 12 people at one point.
Mm.
We raised $750,000.
Oh, shit.
We had 350 businesses using
Signed
this,
up? Yep, yep.
like Sbarro's and some kind of
Okay.
some bigger names, Wendy's.
Right.
So it was cool. I learned a lot, and it just didn't work.
Yeah.
And I ran around for 3 years, man.
Hustling?
little to no sleep. I wasn't watching what I was eating like shit. I was having severe stomach pain, just a
Oh, yeah.
lot of stress, man.
And by the way, your dad's still in
He's
prison.
still in prison at this time. Yeah.
Yeah. Okay.
So that didn't work.
It
right?
didn't work out.
And I spent
You guys folded.
right. We folded.
Investors lost their money.
Investors lost their money.
That's
the
a
hard
hard
thing about tech is that it'll never go away. Your brother will probably be rich. Just
That's
that
right,
one,
man.
that one tech
Right.
thing.
That's
well,
right.
that's what they say. Like in tech, it's like take 10 shots at it. One of
Yeah.
them will work, and then it'll change your life. You
Yeah.
know, like this Dara guy. You know, these Uber guys, these Lyft guys.
Khosrow Shahi.
They all have stories of like failure.
Yep.
Every tech guy
And then-
looks at Steve Jobs like they're Jesus. And
That's
it's
right.
Like one
Yeah.
day.
No doubt. Yeah.
There's a dude named Omar Hamawi who I met once. He had started like I can't remember what it was, like the first babyshower.com or something like that.
Right.
And his parents were doctors from Syria. Syrian dude, Omar Hamawi. And it failed. Right? He had gone to like I think he went to USC. He went to a good undergraduate school in California. And then it failed. And then he starts a second one, like the first this is back in 2000. This is actually earlier 2000s, probably 2002, 2003. Starts a company like that's like the first photo online thing, and he couldn't get it right, and it failed. And he tries a third one, and it failed. And he tries a fourth one, and it failed. His parents, who are doctors, are like, "Yo, go to business school. Stop." You know. So he's like, "All right." So he goes to Wharton. He gets into Wharton, Pennsylvania.
Wow.
This is one of the best business schools in America,
Okay.
probably the world. And he goes in. He's 7 months in, and the Apple iPhone is released. The first one, the 3G or something like that, back in 2007.
Mm-hmm.
And dude ups and leaves business school, goes back to California and says, these phones are going to need advertisements on them. And he creates a company called AdMob.
Oh man.
Have you heard of AdMob?
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
After building up AdMob for a couple of years, he sells it to Google for $750 million.
Wow.
Man,
That's
can you
all it
believe
takes.
that? That's all it takes.
That's crazy.
He ran it for how long?
I think it was 2.5 years.
He's
2.5
like,
years.
I'm done. All right.
0 to
I'm out.
700 million.
But dude had to
2.5
fail
years.
4 times
Right.
to get to number 5.
That's Don't quit. Whoever's listening.
Yeah.
Don't quit comedy either, baby.
Hey,
Yeah.
Cincinnati, here I come.
All right, Danny. So we're on a short on time. We gotta go. So that's a cool story with the tech startup. By the way, how bad did you guys feel about the investors losing their money? Did
Oh,
you have those
man.
conversations?
It's brutal.
Yeah.
And just really
Was it
tough.
friends and family or was it?
You know what? It was mostly people that I met, through the University of Chicago network. I mean, like we went through that business plan competition. We ended up getting like 3rd or 4th. So I met some people through there.
Right, good connections.
Yeah, friends, connections of those people. Like everyone that said no, I said great. Like, or I'd say like sorry to hear. Would have loved to have you. Give me 3 other people in your network that I can go. You're right.
Slick.
You
It's
know,
good,
so,
man. Give me 3 other people.
Yeah.
You don't have to give me a yes. Just give me 3 other
Yeah,
people. That's
right.
good.
So yeah, man. I mean, it's brutal. I still think I thought about it this morning.
Oh, no
like,
shit.
Like this, this guy. Like, man, would have loved to make money with him. But
Right.
people invest in tech businesses knowing
They
that,
know there's risks.
Right.
Absolutely.
like you write that money off. You're
Yeah.
not expecting.
You shouldn't. That's how
There's
early
no way.
VC works, man. 1
Yeah.
out of 10. All right. So then you go back into real estate. So Dad gets out of prison.
Yep.
Walk us through a deal, start to finish, overview. If we have some questions, we'll ask about something you've done on the real estate side that we can learn from. That's kind of a cool deal.
Yeah. So I'll tell you about this deal we're doing in Wheeling, a suburb of Chicago. This thing came about. It's all about relationships, right? So this thing came about because a couple friends of mine were investors in the land, and they had bought it in like 2004, and they had come up with a plan to do some townhome or condo development in the suburb of Chicago.
A big piece of land or what? A couple acres?
7.5 acres.
7.5
Yeah,
acres.
Pretty good size.
Okay.
Market tanks, right?
Right.
07, 08.
They're sitting on this
built-
property.
right, nobody's building anything, so their plans go away, and they're basically cutting the grass and paying the taxes for like 10 years.
Damn.
So we start talking, and they're like, "Hey, look, we're just trying to
Just
get
friends of yours?
right? Yeah." And they're like, "Look, we're just trying to get out. Like, we're just trying to get our money out. We have like
Break even?
right. The investors have like $3 million in this thing. We just want our money out. Like, we're not trying to make a profit at this point. So
Pay us $3 million for it.
right. So the way most real estate deals work is you agree on a price, and you put it under contract. You put the land under contract with a contingency.
Contingency, right.
And the contingency is, we're going to buy this land from you if, and only if, the city
of
where
Wheeling.
the land is located, in this case Wheeling, Illinois, allows us to build
Shout
what
out
we
Wheeling.
shout out Wheeling. Shout out John Melanifi, my peoples, the village of Wheeling, economic department.
Only if that city's
and
willing.
only if the city will allow us to build what we want to build,
Right.
which will imply your value of $3 million on the land.
That's good.
Because
if they say
land
no,
is just land, right? I mean, land is only as valuable as what you can build on it. You could own an acre of land in Chicago,
Well,
right?
unless it got oil underneath it.
Yeah, then it's worth what's underneath it. But generally speaking, yeah. So like you could own a freaking acre of land in Chicago,
right.
but if there's a moratorium on it, if
A moratorium meaning that you
like,
can't build on
you can't build on it,
it. It's useless to own it.
then what's it worth?
Who cares?
Nothing,
It's worth nothing.
right?
I got
can't,
you.
It's land. What you maybe you could grow corn on it or something.
Yeah,
I don't know,
right.
You know, but it's not worth much. Or you could have a tiny piece of land, you know, call it 5,000 square feet, that you could build, you know, a 6-story building on.
Right.
That
That's
piece of
very
land's
valuable.
Right.
I got you. So
So-
value of land has a lot to do with what the city will allow you to do with it.
Right.
Again, politics being super intertwined
Yeah.
with business.
So you're not really owning the land then, if that's the case.
Correct.
Okay.
Right. And so there's something called a zoning map in every city. And Chicago has one. Wheeling has one. Glenview has. You name. Gary, Indiana has one.
Shout
Cincinnati.
out Gary.
Shout out Cincinnati.
Cincinnati.
Cincinnati. Cincinnati has one. And what the zoning map says, basically the way it works is city officials say, wow, we ought to hire some master planners, some architects, some engineers, get some input from the public, and draw a map that describes how we want the city to develop,
Right.
right? Because
Maybe
otherwise,
here some condos, maybe here a townhome subdivision, maybe here a regular home
Exactly.
subdivision,
'Cause
and here
otherwise-
we're gonna do some retail.
right? Otherwise, you got skyscraper, single family home.
Weird.
You know, right? That's not good for anybody.
That'd be great if someone had a little small shack next to the Sears Tower, Willis Tower.
And so like every 100 or so years, this will happen, a master plan, and then the city will adopt it, and that'll become the zoning map
Got you.
for that city. And that zoning map tells you what you can build.
Ah.
So if any of us just look up our home address, you go Chicago zoning map on Google, type in your home address, you can find out what you can build on your home.
Now,
Maybe-
what if you could build a skyscraper? You the only one with a skyscraper in your home. You just come
Right.
downstairs
In
like,
Wicker
hello, everyone.
Well, hello.
Jealous? Want to come to my party? You can't.
Jeffrey, get me some orange juice, please.
I'll be on the 7th floor. You
Amr-
have to catch me.
Oprah.
Amr's high school parties would have been a lot cooler. They were a skyscraper.
I wish. One day, baby.
So when like developers or real estate folks talk about zoning a piece of land, right? Getting it rezoned. What
You're
they're-
changing that map.
Right, that's what's happening.
You're trying to go to the city and say,
they're going to the city council and saying, hello, ladies and gentlemen. Currently, this piece of land is zoned for a single family home. Well, here I've done some market studies that show there's demand for apartment housing.
instead of single family homes,
And-
right?
Right. And I've gotten some input from the neighbors in the community, and they want to see apartment housing because the rents are getting too high. They want to see more supply. I'd like to amend the map to allow for a 20-unit apartment building.
I got you.
There's some back and forth. There's some
Right.
negotiation. How much parking are you going to provide? How much open space? Any green space? How's it going to look? We want to make sure it looks pretty. When it's all said and done, they approve it. That map gets amended. The next day, when you go on City of Chicago, Google,
New
map,
zoning.
oh, there's a different color.
They updated
right,
it.
with that
Right.
little-
I can go do what I want there now.
Exactly.
Oh, so you did this with Wheeling,
Right.
and you're like, if Wheeling City Council says yes to our plan, we're going to give you $3 million.
Correct.
And they're like, all right, well, then they're cool with that?
Correct.
The seller was cool with that?
Right. And you got to put up some money to show you're serious. You know, call it 50 grand. Or
But you can get that 50 grand back?
Yes. And at some point, maybe it becomes non-refundable.
Okay.
Right? Like they'll hold
If
it
it's been
for
6 months or 3 months or
6
something.
months, and then it's like, look, by now, if you don't know, you know, shit or get off the pop,
Right.
buddy. So that's what we did in Wheeling. So we tied up this land, 7.5 acres.
What was your plan to do with it? Did you want to rezone? Did you need to rezone?
We did, yeah.
From what to what?
So it was zoned, it was basically nothing. Like you couldn't build anything.
Oh,
on it.
shit.
Yeah.
Useless.
These guys, the owners that we bought it from, had it previously zoned for 170 condos.
Okay.
So we knew there was some precedence there for
Okay.
170. So we said, you know what? Even if we can only build 170, is it worth $3 million? Yeah, we think it is. We went into the village, you know, that was 2007. Now it's 2017, right?
This is 2 years ago you did this.
Yeah.
Okay.
We started. And we said, look, we want to build 225, I think was our number, apartments. We had done our market studies. There was demand. There hadn't been any new apartment development in like that northwest suburban area in like 20 years. It was like we thought there was like a blue sky opportunity, right? Through a series of meetings and a series of, you know, public forums where folks are like, that's too many apartments, so that's not enough, or, you know, it should look nicer, and we don't want red brick, we want green
I'm picturing
brick.
I'm picturing like a village town hall meeting.
That's what it is. That's what it is. We ultimately got approved, and then that number got revised, and we ended up with 320 apartments. And when
This is like a complex, right?
yeah, it's a big, like, heavily amenitized.
Multiple buildings?
One single Texas wrap building.
What does that mean?
So it's basically a wrap structure with the parking
In the middle.
in the middle.
Oh.
Now, in our case, it's kind of a modified Texas wrap. So think of it like a horseshoe. And then the open end of the horseshoe, we have a parking garage.
Oh, okay, cool.
If that makes sense.
Standing parking garage?
Correct.
Got you.
6-story building.
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
So 2 buildings you're gonna build.
Yeah, right.
Parking garage and the.
Right. And the parking
Okay.
garage is already built. We're now on the 2nd floor of construction.
Damn.
Of that
How many
building.
years you guys been constructing so far?
We broke ground in October. It's been about 7 months.
Wow.
Yeah.
So, man, what do you think of that, Noshod?
It sounds like he was building the projects to me, but I was like, sounds
Cabrini
like a
Green
project.
coming to Wheeling.
Yeah.
Yeah.
U-shaped.
Yeah. No, we're gonna get good rents there.
Yeah? Yeah. So then, so now, right? The plan is to build it. Now, so how did you get the money to build? Just 320 units. How much does it cost to build this?
Right. It's a $95 million project
Woo!
total cost. Yep.
You had to come up with $95 million to do this,
Correct.
to start breaking ground.
Yep.
So how did you do that? You just go into your piggy bank and just pull that out?
I just smashed it.
Smashed
at
it?
$95 million. Came out. Yes, exactly what I needed.
Thank you, God.
No, so the tech startup didn't work, right? But my job at the tech startup was raising money, basically. I just had to make sure there was enough money in the bank to let the engineers and the coders
Do their thing.
get paid, pay their
Yeah.
bills, leave the lights on, and do their thing. So I met a lot of people doing that, and I built a lot of experience raising money. And so when it came time to do this, some of those skills were transferable. And
That's what my girl does for
A nonprofit?
Yeah, for her SJP. She raises money.
Oh, Students for Justice in Palestine.
Mm-hmm.
She does. Is she in college?
Yeah.
Oh, where?
DePaul.
Oh, cool. I didn't know that.
Mm-hmm.
Nice, bro.
That's what she does. Yeah.
She raises money for SJP.
Yeah.
That's what Danny does for.
So, hey, baby, raise that $95 million.
Bring home that 95.
We need us some cheddar.
Yeah.
All right. Yeah. So you use those experiences. Did you use the relationships too that
Yeah,
you
of
met from the
course.
tech people?
Yeah.
Some of those-
not on this particular deal, but on
other
other
deals.
deals we've done. Yeah, sure.
Ah, so you keep those in your back pocket.
Absolutely. And real estate is a financing game. Is
Right.
really what it is.
Right.
So you raise some percentage of that 95 million as equity, so cash from investors.
Oh, right.
Usually it's about 25%,
Okay.
25 to 40%, let's call it.
So on this deal, you probably got 20 to 30 million in equity.
Yep.
People actually had to put from their pocket 20 to 30 million.
Yep.
The rest was from
A bank. right, or a lender.
60. So a bank might have gave you $60 million for this.
Yeah,
thing.
they gave us 70 to 75
You
million.
got a bank to give you $75 million, and you're not white.
Right.
How did you
Most
do
people
that
can't
shit?
even get candy stores or whatever they're trying to get. You got 75 million.
Yeah, and you know
$75
that
million.
That's crazy.
Holy shit!
We got a
that was
that's
one.
not crazy.
That is.
I know.
You know,
I feel like we pulled a fast one here, man.
Man.
I'll tell you guys, like coming from the tech experience raising money, like this was like a, I mean, I don't want to say cakewalk, but trying to like pitch like, look, it's gonna be this app and it's gonna do this and that.
Right.
People, are
People
looking
don't
at
get
you
that.
like,
Yeah.
right? Versus like this is a real
People are
estate asset.
living
Like,
here.
like
Yeah, if
we
you
have-
can live here, right?
like
Pay
we
us
have
rent.
markets like we know that once it's built, like they will come.
Right.
Right. Like
You ever
that's-
heard of Wheeling? Come on now, son.
Wheeling-
gonna be-
Everybody
Wheeling
going to
and dealing.
Wheeling.
It's gonna be the spot to live.
We're gonna be wheeling them in.
That's gonna be on our billboard once once we start renting.
Man, what a story.
Yeah, man. So when the
75
property is zoned, when the property was zoned, we had an appraisal done because the bank wanted to know like how much is the land worth today, right? And we paid, remember, $3 million. So once that zoning went through, that property was worth like $7 to $7.5 million.
So you doubled your money right there.
Right.
Damn.
If we chose to sell.
And at first, he was just trying to break even.
Right.
Right.
That's
Right.
crazy.
Well, okay, no, that was the sellers were trying to break even. The
Oh,
sellers
okay.
who owned it for $3 million back in 2007 have sold it in 2017 for $3 million.
Yeah.
They zoned it. They rolled up their sleeves and went to the council and been like, "Yo, we did a market study. Give us new zoning." They're
See-
like, "Stamp, you got new zoning." Boom, they just made $4 million.
This is what I just
And,
noticed, right?
Yeah. He just said in like 2 sentences that process took a year and a half.
Wow.
He was like, "Oh, the land ain't even worth nothing," and then it turned out to be worth more than.
Exactly.
Because
Mhm.
it's always worth what you can build on it. And at the time, couldn't build jack squat
Yeah.
after we went through that
So
process.
step one in any real estate process is check zoning.
Right.
You remember Joey mentioned that too, where he just rezoned land, right?
By the way, that deal was with Danny. They did it together.
Yeah.
Ah, okay.
Shout out
Wow.
Joey C.
Yeah,
Shout
that's
out
right,
Joey.
baby.
Hey, Joey, what up? What's good?
But they didn't actually build that land, right? They just got the architectural plans and sold it.
No, we.
Chris did.
Yeah.
Chris, the first owner, bought it for $300,000
Oh, that's right.
and put architectural plans on it.
Right. So he went through that exercise. In that deal, Chris went through that exercise.
Correct.
So he, with the help of Joey's father, got it zoned properly.
From $300,000, it went up to.
Shout out Joey's dad too.
Nice to see. And then he hired the architect and put the plans together.
When he rezoned, did it jump in value? You think?
The Western deal?
Correct.
Yes.
So Chris automatically made from 300 to something like what?
Right.
$1 million.
Yeah, probably $1 million.
So he made
at
$700,000.
least. Yeah.
Then he puts plans on it,
Right.
and it went from $1 million to what?
$2
$2
Let's
million.
call it. Yeah.
And then you guys paid what?
$2.
Oh, $2.
Yeah.
Okay, got you.
Yeah. So like that's you just kind of talk through the steps like of adding value in real estate.
Right,
Like step
right.
one is get it zoned. Find the highest and best use for that land.
Correct.
That might be building a goddamn amusement park.
Right,
It might be
right.
building a putt-putt course.
Yeah, church.
Or
it
it
could
might
be
be
whatever.
building 320 apartment. Whatever that is,
Right.
find out what it is, get it zoned for that use, and you've maximized value for the land.
Right.
That's like step one, right?
Mm.
Major value created. In the case of Wheeling, we doubled the value of the land.
Mm.
Step two is getting architectural plans, right?
Mm.
Because before you can build, before you can bring your bulldozer onto that job site and start swinging hammers and cranes and stuff, you need to get a permit from the city,
Mm.
right, to allow you to start building.
Right.
Right.
Otherwise, there's a guy bulldozing next door. Like, who the fuck's this guy? So
Before you come in like a wrecking ball. Like
Yeah.
That's
So-
my house.
What the fuck? Yeah. So in order to get that permit, you've got to submit a set of plans to the city, and they're gonna inspect it. They're gonna have the fire department inspect it. They're gonna have the plumbing inspector inspect it. They're gonna have the mechanical inspector inspect it. They want to make sure it meets code, right?
Right.
Each city has a building code.
Right.
You've got to have so much light and vent. You've got to have so much access to fire escapes, et cetera, et cetera.
Yeah.
So that's like step two of adding value, is getting that permit from the city.
You can't
The
have
way to do that
a
is get
condo
the
with no
architectural
doors.
That's right. Yeah, I tried it once. Boy, it didn't work.
Wait, how do you get out? You don't.
That's the trick to this condo.
Okay. Step three.
Once you've got your plans, the city has blessed them, and they give you that stamp. And oh boy, the best feeling in this business is picking up those plans from City Hall with that stamp. It's like, oh man,
I made it.
Because now you can go, you can build. You call your contractor,
green light.
And you've made money.
Yeah,
Because that's worth something, right?
Again, you've increased value.
Yeah, because you could sell that to somebody.
That's right. Like that Western deal that Joey was talking about, that's exactly how it happened. The guy got it zoned. The guy got the plans. When we bought it, we picked up the plans the same day. The stamp plans from the city.
Right. They were there.
Thank you very much. The
Right.
next day we started construction.
Damn. Got it.
And then, of course, construction is step 3.
Right.
So once you build the building and it's ready to be leased or sold or...
All right, so let's talk about this Wheeling property. It's going to cost you $95 million to build.
Correct.
$75 million loan, 20 or so equity.
Right.
You found those investors. You had conversations with them. You showed them everything. They were like, all right, we trust you, Danny. Here's $20 million. You get the loan. So let's say you rent all the apartments and you hand the keys to the last guy, apartment number 320.
Can't wait.
How do you think about how much you guys are going to make?
Yeah.
And really, it's the investors who are making a lot of that money, right?
Right.
They have $20 million in the deal. They own a lot of it.
Right. So the value of the building when it's built.
That's what you're doing, right? Is you're making money. You're making money for these investors. Along the way, you're hoping to make some too.
Right. Yeah. So we're the developer, right? So we're kind of the orchestrator,
Right.
the maestro, if you will. You got
Producer of the
guy,
comedy show or the show of
right.
or
That's
director.
Right. Yeah.
Right.
You got like in your guys' world, you've got somebody behind the scenes.
Right.
Directing the actors. Somebody's knows how
The
the
brains
lights are
behind it
supposed
all.
to work, how this audio's supposed to work, how it's going to get, all that. So
That's you.
in my world, that's me. And, we've got architects, we've got construction folks, we got the village, right? Or the city, they're calling up every week wanting to know what's going on. So there's a lot going on. So we're getting paid for our time and efforts all throughout the project. And then we get some upside, when it's sold eventually. When the investors make money, we'll make a little bit of money too.
So you'll participate with them as they're making money.
Correct.
Gotcha.
And that little bit of money ain't a little bit of money. He'll be making a couple grand,
Oh, a couple grand. I'm thinking a lot more than that.
Oh, how much? Tell me.
So let's think about the investors. Do you have estimates of how the investors will do?
Yeah. So we're projecting that the building, once it's fully leased, stabilized as it's called, it'll be worth anywhere from 125 to 130 million.
Wow.
So the equity will essentially have doubled their money.
Yeah, they put in. Well, wait, hold on. Let's say it's 130 million. It's worth.
Okay, then they'll have made a little bit more than double their money.
Total profit in the transaction is $35 million. Is that
Right.
correct?
Right.
Let's hypothetically say you sold it and you paid back the loan.
Right.
35 million is left over. The investors who put in 20 supposedly get 35 back.
Right.
Yeah, they almost doubled their money.
Right. No, they actually tripled in that, almost tripled their money. In that
20 to 35.
Yeah, because you sell it for 135, or you said 130.
30. Yeah.
Yeah. So the bank loan, let's just say it was $100 million
For the loan.
Right.
Gotcha.
No, 25 million in equity, 75 million in debt.
Gotcha.
100 million total to play
Gotcha.
with round numbers.
Yeah.
It sells for, let's say 130. So who gets their money back? The bank gets their 75 first. Once they got their 75, how much is left over? There's 55.
Oh shit.
So they get their money back.
Oh yeah, I screwed that up.
Plus, yeah.
There's
double.
the 75. So 25 plus 30 is 55 million.
Right.
The 25 million gets more than double.
And right, almost triple. And that.
Well,
example,
25 to 55. Yeah, a little more than double.
Yeah, a little
Somewhere
more
between
than
double and triple.
4 plus 4.
Wow. And so you'll participate with some of that 55 million as
Inshallah.
developers. Yeah, that's right, baby.
Yeah.
Man, on that
That's
note,
awesome.
on that $55 million note, I think we need to say thank you very much, Danny, for being so willing to share your heart with us, brother. And
Thanks,
your
guys.
personal story, but also more importantly, how you make cheddar, baby.
Yeah,
Right.
this was a lot of fun. Yeah, we got to do a round 2 sometime.
Amen.
For
For
sure,
sure,
man.
man.
That's
Thank you,
cool.
Noshod, for being here.
I mean, it's
Shot,
always
bro.
a pleasure.
All I gotta
Man in
say-
Cincinnati.
All I gotta say is, watch
Eventually
out,
the world.
Cincinnati.
What,
Yeah.
what were
He
the dates
coming.
again?
May 22nd. I'll be around. I'll be back in Cincinnati in June, but I don't want to
Yo,
talk about the dates.
I can confidently tell you, man, ain't a single person listening to this going to Cincinnati to watch.
I don't know. You don't know that.
Well, this
That's
is
right.
I
this
thought we
is
had
Never say
thousands
never,
of
right?
Listeners in Cincinnati.
Listen, for the people who are listening, just remember that I'll be in Cincinnati if you are there because I'm
Right.
gonna need your help to win this competition.
That's right, baby.
So I
Courtesy laughs.
so I could keep going back and keep telling people stupid things that come out of my head.
That's right.
On the way, make a lot of money while I'm doing it.
Some
all right?
real estate.
Now
$55 million.
listen, bitches.
Oh, yeah,
help me out, all right?
Yeah, thank you for being here, bro.
No problem, man. Thank you
Uh,
for having me.
Peace out, y'all.
Great. Peace.